He wished for a puppy and was denied. Make-A-Wish recipients and workers, what were some wishes you had to say no to? I received a wish when I was 15. At that time I was madly in love with Harry Styles and of course wanted to use my wish to meet him and spend the day with him. After telling the wish coordinator this, she broke the news to me that if I were to meet him it would be a year from then, with about 15 other kids for a very brief moment, a hello and a photo. Upon hearing that disappointing news I changed my wish and instead went to Australia for 10 days with my family and swam in the Great Barrier Reef. Usually, the wishes we had to say no to were from the kids' family members. There was always some uncle, grandma, cousin, sibling, or parent who wanted to hijack the kid's wish. I got a wish as a kid, then survived. The biggest, best thing I could think of was to go to Chuck E. Cheese's. I have no idea why I was fixated on that. To the credit of some good peeps, to Chuck E. Cheese's I went. I couldn't be around other people, so they opened it up at night, people deep cleaned it, sterilizing each ball in the ball pit. There was dedication there. Then someone who was cleared medically worked it. Don't remember most of it, was pretty young, mostly just remember the bits I found exciting, but that damn rat casino still makes me smile whenever I see one. Moral of the story, never bet against Make-A-Wish when dealing with logistics. Every ball in pit. I've been the recipient and later on after my health improved I volunteered as a wish coordinator. My original wish was to attend the Oscars. That got denied by the Academy as they do not grant wishes. I wound up going to the People's Choice Awards as a VIP. Make-A-Wish flew my family to LA for a week, all expenses paid. They got us a limo for the show, paid for my dress, hair, and makeup. We walked the red carpet and were seated very close to the stage. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. The generosity of the volunteers is remarkable. They even had someone greet us at the airport on arrival. It was extremely important to me that my brother and sister were included in my wish because my illness had robbed them of part of their childhoods. I am forever indebted to everyone who made my wish possible. When I turned 18 I decided to volunteer as a wish coordinator to give back to an organization that did so much for me. I met with wish kids and their families. We would always arrive with a gift for all the children in the family based on a little survey they filled out. We'd talk with the child and help define their wish. It's important to determine the child's true wish, and make sure that it isn't influenced by parents. The most common wish is to go to Disney. Celebrity meet and greets are the ones that often can be turned down. First, because it is undefined what a meet and greet are. It could be the child literally waving at someone and no one wants that, and second because not all celebrities grant wishes or can schedule a time to meet with kids. The coolest wish I worked on was a shopping spree for a boy who was confined to his room. He got $7,000 to go buy video games, TVs, a tricked out lazy boy, etc. for the ultimate gaming setup. My son was a Make-A-Wish recipient. He wanted to go to Europe. They were planning it and his past birth father wouldn't allow my kids to get passports. Great father, huh? Son had like 36% chance of survival from brain cancer and he said no passports. Anyways, his second wish was an RV trip to the Badlands, Yellowstone, and the Rockies. They got us the biggest bus type, think it's A-class, RV they could get. Set everything up for us, gave us itineraries, and off we went. It's such an incredible organization and luckily my son had a blast after finally having the okay to go. He's also in remission and doing well, thank God. Make-A-Wish is incredible. A classmate of mine, now passed, got a meet and greet with Sammy Sosa. The understanding from the Make-A-Wish people was that Sammy would sign autographs and sit with the family for a while. Now, this kid was all about Sammy. He had his jerseys, loved Sammy's little leaps after home runs, and Irk even was big into Pepsi because of Sammy too. When the day came, Sammy showed up late. He didn't respond when the family greeted him, it was described as a sullen silence, signed a glove and then walked away. My classmates started crying once it was clear Sammy was not going to come back. Right, when the parents were about to leave, another baseball player named Corey Patterson saw my classmate, came up, signed everything they had, and talked and joked around with the family for over a half hour. Corey became my classmate's favorite player that day, and I think he lived perhaps a year after that moment. At his funeral my classmate's picture with Corey was one of the prominent pictures. That moment and day truly truly meant the world to him. He was around 10 to 11, To this day I'm unsure if someone from Make-A-Wish found Corey or if the moment was as spontaneous as it was described to me, but no matter what, Corey will always have a special place in my heart because of that story. I have experience with Make-A-Wish in the last year due to my son's condition. This was a question I asked and the response I was given was they will do anything they can within reason. One kid wanted a swimming pool in his backyard and they did that. Because of how the process goes with making a wish, they ask the kid a lot of questions to determine what the child wants and to ensure there isn't any influence from the parents. My wife and I sat with my son while they asked him a lot of questions over about a 1-hour period to determine what he wanted to do. They asked my wife and me to sit there silently while he answered honestly. We are going to go to Legoland and meet Darth Vader sometime in 2019. A kid I know got cancer in elementary school. He was always into history and US presidents, so he asked to meet him. They flew his whole family out to DC to meet George W. Bush. Also, he actually spent more time with them than was allotted in his daily planner according to the dad. The kid beat cancer and is still doing okay. A couple of years ago I went to Disney at Orlando and there was a little boy running around wearing a shirt that said, "I'm a Make-A-Wish kid." My friend had to comfort me when I cried because the toddler's mom and aunt told the pretzel vendor his Make-A-Wish was originally "Make Mommy Happy." When I was in college I had a good friend named John. We were both in automotive 8 hours a day for 2 years. One day we grabbed sushi on lunch and he casually mentioned at 12 years old, current age 20, he was a recipient of Making a Wish. He asked for sushi and just sushi. You could see his eyes light up just telling the story. They set him up with a private lunch at a local sushi bar where he had the entire selection of sushi rolls laid out in front of him with each and every possible condiment/roll/side. Not an expensive or grandeur request, but Make-A-Wish went above and beyond. When I was a baby until I was 5 I had cancer and got some wishes. My first wish was for a computer. I only wanted a computer because it came with a mouse. Yes, I thought it came with a real mouse. So obviously it was rejected because you can't have pets when you basically live in a hospital and my family was broke as fuck anyway, so they couldn't give us a pet. I ended up getting some dope ass googly eyeglasses and an epic trip to Disney World. It was the only family vacation we ever got to go on. I didn't know the kid at all, but he died from cancer in his senior year of high school when I was a sophomore. We had an assembly for him. His name was Tyler. His wish was a gift to his best friend. Tyler went to a computer store with his friend and asked him to show him the best computer there. Then Tyler bought the best computer there for his friend, using Make-A-Wish donation money. Only to die a little later. Such a selfless guy. My little brother has had 2 heart transplants so far and will probably get another before it's all said and done. His wish was to go to Nintendo. Well, Nintendo Japan doesn't grant wishes, but Nintendo of America does. He stayed in Seattle for a few days and had a day-long tour of Nintendo. Unfortunately, Reggie wasn't in the office that day, but the Treehouse staff led him around all day. This was right before the Switch came out, so he got to play Breath of the Wild before anyone. They gave him a sweet goodie bag and let him go on a shopping spree in the employee store. This isn't my personal story, but of my uncle who passed away shortly after I was born. He loved the Terminator so much that he wanted nothing more than to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger. Due to having a busy schedule, Arnold's agent had to deny him of his wish a couple of times, was filming for the second Terminator. My uncle was so determined to meet Arnold that he then changed his wish to meeting Maria Shriver, Arnold's wife. Because of his determination, he was allowed on the set of Terminator 2, Judgment Day. He got to meet Arnold, Maria, and Arnold's stunt double. My mom still has the pictures and it makes my heart soar. Make-A-Wish is fantastic and I'm so glad my uncle got to live out his dream. I asked for a shotgun because I was into clay shooting. They said no. Went for a rally driving day, they picked my family and me up in a limo. Drove us 2 hours to the place and then I had the whole place to myself and lots of time behind the wheel. It was great. They paid for pro pictures and a meal after for my family and my godparents' family. Even just gave me some spending money. I had a great time. 10 years later, still alive. My friend, who's a recipient, wanted to go to Australia to the Great Barrier Reef. He loves to fish in the oceans and reefs. Anyway, They wouldn't allow him because there weren't the right kind of doctors up there or something like that. They were worried about his health even though he's pretty healthy now, he just has to take medicine every day. He was kind of bummed out but he went to Florida so he was happy. We both are gonna start taking scuba diving classes together. We are both 14 by the way. So when I was 15 I got to make a wish. My uncle really pushed to ask to meet Tiger Woods and play golf with him. I wasn't into that. Neither was my cervical tumors. I was getting better and I knew I was going to be okay. I told the wish peeps that I wanted to bow out but they were pushy. Right in front of my mom, I said I wanted to smoke weed with Snoop Dogg and wouldn't accept any other wish. That got shut down. I'm fine and 34 now. I'm from MN. When I had leukemia 30 years ago, I remember my wish was to go to the Grand Canyon. My parents straight up vetoed me, and instead, the family, 2 sisters, went to Disney World and other Orlando attractions through the Give Kids the World program. It was the right decision, but still. I knew a friend who had cancer and overcame it and he talked about making a wish if it's not accepted you apparently get a first-class trip to Disney World most people can't afford. He said he went to Disney World cause he wanted to meet a skater that was in Europe on some tour. I just got back from my kids' wish trip. Did all the Orlando parks. It was an amazing experience and hope to be able to help others with their wishes in return. We stayed at Giving Kids the World Village. That place is definitely a heaven on earth. Just filled with the most amazing people and my kids were so sad to leave. My son chose a Disney cruise. He didn't even hesitate in his pick. Probably because we were on day 1 of a Disney cruise we had been planning for over a year when he took a small tumble in our stateroom and wound up breaking his femur because, unbeknownst to us, his leg was filled with Ewing's sarcoma. This trip he had been looking forward to for so long was destroyed before it even really started. So when it was wish time, he asked for a redo of our cruise. We waited until he had been off of chemo for a couple of months and we had a wonderful time. We even added days on at Disney World, from our DVC timeshare, after the cruise. Both the Make-A-Wish folks and the Disney Cruise employees told my son to make sure he wore his Make-A-Wish shirt to the parks when we were there. He did one of the days and even though that wasn't part of his wish, the Disney cast members all treated him great. It was so nice to see him have such a wonderful trip after a ruined dream vacation and a year of non-stop hospital stays. Make-A-Wish is a truly incredible organization. When my buddy was battling leukemia, they found a way to get him an autographed picture of Cal Ripken Jr. and paid to have an old car restored that he absolutely loved. R.I.P. buddy, hope you're still playing outfield in heaven. I'm told that I was very sarcastic even at a young age. When they told me I could wish for whatever I wanted, I thought I could think of something impossible, a big brick house so the big bad wolf can't blow it down. Make-A-Wish people said they had run out of bricks granting their last wish. They handed me a catalog of playhouses to choose from. I defiantly flipped immediately to the back and poked one at random before probably returning to my Studio Ghibli movie. And that is the story of how Make-A-Wish built me a 2-story playhouse with heating/air/electricity. I'm so glad they ran out of bricks. Obligatory not a worker or recipient but I read a story a while ago that a child was dying and wanted to go hunting before he died. Apparently, Make-A-Wish has a rule where they don't deal with firearms so a bunch of hunters got together and took him on a hunting trip. I got offered a Make-A-Wish when I was 5 years old because I had leukemia. My parents declined their offer because my survival was very likely and they wanted another kid who was less likely to survive to have it. After I was cured, they took me and my twin brother to Disneyland to celebrate using their own money. My parents are wonderful people. My brother and I both had wished. We both chose Disney World. It was the best 2 family vacations we've had. We both thought about meeting celebrities but those are obviously contingent on the celebrity accepting. Glad we chose something the whole family was able to enjoy. Thank you for watching Reddit Space. Please subscribe if you love these Reddit stories.